Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. Today, we just got done witnessing the Team Liquid TSM game in week 2 of the LCS season. This was the 5th game of the season for both these teams, and it was a very surprising result. Obviously, in this video today, we're going to be breaking down all the highlights from this game, taking a look at exactly went down, what exactly happened, and how this game was able to play out, because obviously TSM pulling off the victory was a pretty surprising result for a lot of people. So seeing exactly how that was supposed to happen, and then kind of giving my thoughts, opinions, and analysis of what this means for these two teams going forward. You know, is TSM legit? Is Team Liquid maybe a little worse than we thought? What exactly is going on? Because all of a sudden the LCS standings look really crazy. We're seeing 100 Thieves and Cloud9 at the top. Evil Geniuses taking down Cloud9, but Cloud9 taking down 100 Thieves. TSM beating Team Liquid. The teams are just all over the place, and it's really weird to kind of rate them, rank them, break this stuff down. And in the end, it's just like, is this good for the LCS? Is this bad for the LCS? You know, it really depends how things play out over the course of the year. It's going to be really interesting, but it makes it a ton of fun to watch every single game. But before we get into that, I just want to mention real quick, if you have not already, please take a second really fast and smash that like button. I would appreciate it so much. It really helps me out with my YouTube channel, continuing to grow our content, you know, reaching more and more people. If we can run up those likes, that would be absolutely awesome. It's the best way to help support my channel and my content, and it's super easy. Also, subscribe if you're not already to stay up to date on all my latest content, so you don't miss out on any of the videos we got going on in the future, because we got a lot of big plans coming up in the next couple of weeks. I mean, the LCS is heating up, LEC, banger games and stuff going on all over the world. So we're going to be right on top of all that stuff. With that being said, let's get right into this. The TSM and Team Liquid highlights. First up, I want to talk about their drafts. So when I saw this draft for TSM, I was not necessarily super excited. One thing that I didn't love was the fact that TSM actually got counterpicked in both their solo lanes. Yes, they first picked Azir for Power of Evil. They ended up having to blind pick the Gnar, obviously, because Team Liquid is red side, so they were going to get to hold on to that counter pick as well, as long as they picked their mid laner early on. So they got the Zoe into the Azir, which would be a favorable matchup, and they got the Kennen into the Gnar, which would be a favorable matchup in the lane right now. But I'm not totally convinced of Kennen for Alphari for Team Liquid. He was able to get a sizable lane advantage in this game, but I'm not sure exactly how I'd love it. One thing I did really like for TSM was the Pantheon, Sword Art's Pantheon. That's been a pick that he's really excelled on historically, and it's just a ton of fun. Aggressive, you know, in your face, has that semi-global, so you can get around, affect the map, help everyone out. That was going to be really important. And then obviously allowing Lost to kind of have a champion that can maybe be a little bit self-sufficient as well. On Team Liquid side, you know, the Nautilus and Jhin bot lane looks pretty scary for Tactical and Core JJ. Obviously, be interesting to see how they do there, and then interesting to see whether or not Santorin will be able to punish the Lilia, that Graves into Lilia matchup, seeing who is able to win that out. But all in all, I wasn't, you know, super excited about TSM's draft, but first picking that Azir for Power of Evil, he was going to have to prove us something in this game. So let's get into some of the highlights and stuff. Just a couple minutes of highlights here. Early on in the game, this is 8 minutes in. Gold's pretty much even. You know, Team Liquid has a little bit of a lead. We just have a 3v3, kind of weird. You know, both teams just kind of sitting there in the middle, waiting for some action to break out, and then Sword Art does flash in onto them, but TL is able to kind of dissuade that engage and able to pick up a kill on Sword Art even after he flashes in. Thankfully for TSM, they are able to kind of trade a kill back. Loss goes pretty low, but in the end, it is just going to be a 1-for-1. Kind of a crazy, weird play there. Almost 11 minutes in, TSM is able to take a tower, first tower up in the top lane, which is obviously a nice play for them, and then this would set up Team Liquid obviously to make a cross map play a little bit later, securing the first dragon of the game, and Gold would stay just about even. 12 minutes in, Power of Evil goes really aggressive, obviously landing a very nice ultimate onto Jensen, where Spica does pick up the kill. That'd be kind of a theme for this game, just Power of Evil playing really well on that Azir, which is obviously what they needed him to do after first picking that for him. A lot of action actually in this game. You know, TSM has been known for their slow early games and stuff, but here we see a huge fight breaking out. TSM with a 5-man bot play, and TL has their 3 guys there. Power of Evil, a nice Shurima shuffle in. He picks up 2 kills, which is awesome. Sword Art does go down, but then Power of Evil is just able to continue doing so much damage in this fight, and a quadra kill for Azir at 14 15 minutes. That is like the dream for TSM. You first pick this Azir. He's obviously a scaling monster, especially when he gets ahead with items. He can be so dominant, and he picks up a quadra kill. Absolutely insane. It's going to be hard for TSM to mess this one up at this point. Yes, Huni gets kind of caught in a weird spot. They 3-man dive him. Unfortunate for him. TL still, making some plays, fighting back, but they're down 2K at right around 20 minutes, which that is weird. TSM is not up at 20 minutes very often. They're a very slow early game team. They're a very bad early game team. But their mid to late games have been solid. And when they're able to get leads, they usually find a way to close them out. They just really struggle to get leads. But again, it's looking good. 2-0 Lilia, 4-0 Azir. The Kai'Sa is not too far behind. The Kai'Sa's actually up 12 CS on tactical at this point. Here, Huni's looking like he gets caught out again in the bot lane, but he lands a nice 2-man Gnar ult on to Santorin and Alphari, and then Power of Evil with the TP in the Shurima shuffle yet again. Huni picks up 1 kill, Power of Evil picks up another. He is 5-0 on Azir at 20 minutes. Power of Evil, obviously he's replacing Bjergsen. He had big shoes to fill. He's kind of had a slow start to the season. This is what people were expecting. Fans, TSM, myself, were expecting this guy. We know he can be a monster in the mid lane. He hadn't really showed it yet so far, but if he can start to play at like an MVP caliber of level, TSM can be a very scary team all of a sudden. 22 minutes in, TSM with a 5k gold lead, really starting to stretch that out. They are now picking up their third Drake here, and at 27 minutes, they now are on Ocean Soul Point, and with a 7,000 gold lead. So this game is pretty much all but over, barring a crazy throw from TSM. Jensen does get caught out a little bit there. He tries to ult over the wall to deal a little bit of extra damage, but the Q from Kai'Sa does so much to him, and he pretty much gets assassinated when he jumps over the wall. 30 minutes in, TSM playing this slow and steady. They're able to pick up the Baron, and then from there, they would just kind of push to start closing out the game. A 10k gold lead at 31 minutes. This was an absolute dominating victory from TSM. TL was never really in the game at all. Yes, Azir got that quadra kill very early on, so they were set back pretty early, but from there TSM just slowly bled them out. As you can see here, they're using the Baron very effectively. Take a tower mid, take the bot inhib. It's really just textbook League of Legends. Again, TSM has looked solid in the mid to late games. All their victories, a lot of their victories are come from behind, and when they get those early leads, they really know how to close it out. Now they're taking a mid inhib, they're taking the Nexus towers, they're taking a top tower, and TL just can't do anything. Jensen's still dead. There's really just nothing for them to do at this point. They don't have anyone that's ahead. They don't have anyone that's fed. Even though Alphari was able to get a nice lead against Huni's Gnar in lane, he wasn't able to do anything with that. He didn't get much help from his team, and TSM would just close this one out around 33 minutes in. CoreJJ's going in, trying to save it. Alphari with the ult in, but again, he's just not really able to do much of anything. He's doing a lot of damage, but his team's not able to back him up. PoE picks up his 6th kill on Azir there, and they end it. A huge upset victory for TSM. This is a team that was 2-2 coming in with 2 wins over CLG and Golden Guardians, which neither of those wins look very convincing. This is them playing against Team Liquid, the lock-in champions, a team that had just looked pretty good. Yes, they weren't undefeated or anything like that. Maybe they're looking a little bit rockier to start the season, but anyone who was predicting TSM to win this game, it would just have been a little bit unusual. When we go actually to the post-game interview, the Tigress is talking to Huni, asking Huni, how good is this TSM team? Everyone's wondering, is this TSM team really good? Are they legit? Are they a legit threat for some of these top other teams like 100 Thieves, Cloud9, EG? Are we going to consistently see TSM taking games off these top teams, or was this just a best of ones or crazy one and done type deal? I was definitely interested in hearing what Huni was going to have to say. He's usually a guy with that big confidence, big personality. So let's hear from the main man himself, coming off his big Gnar game.
But just from your heart, speaking out to the TSM fans, when we're all trying to evaluate where should TSM be in this current competitive scene, what do you have to say for all that are following along for the ride?
Yeah, honestly, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know. It's really hard to judge even ourselves too, because I think if you're playing actually Scream or how we actually doing practice, I think it's gonna be, we can actually judge really high. But the thing is right now, I think what I see in my perspective, I think from the screen, from the practice, and then what we're showing on the stage, there's a lot of differences. There's I would say there's a lot gap that we're not actually playing well as much as practice. I think as long as the gap is the more closing, I think it'll be really good for us that we can actually even judge, like, of course, we're going to playoff, like, no matter what. And honestly, our goal is just winning spring split for now.
So, a couple things to take away from that interview. I was kind of expecting Huni to be like, we could be the best team in the league. He said our goal is to win spring split, but he's not like, oh yeah, I think we can win spring split. I think we're going to win spring split. He was just saying that's the goal they're working towards. So this seemed, a little bit like a humble Huni in a way. Like maybe he's not super, super confident in this team. Maybe he's not super convinced of this team. And honestly, I do believe that. I believe what they've seen from the lock-in tournament and even in LCS so far, and probably from what they're seeing in scrims is, they are a very, very solid team some days. They have the talent. You can't really argue that the talent is not there. Even if you're not 100% convinced of loss, even if you're still questionable about Huni, Spica, PoE, Sword Art, these guys are talented. And once they start clicking, this team can be scary. Now, will they ever click well enough? Will loss be good enough? Will Huni be good enough? You don't really know. But, like he said, they're not necessarily doing as good on stage as they do in practice for whatever reason. They've maybe had some weird drafts here and there. Bjergsen's learning, Loss is learning, Huni's still adjusting. This team is learning to play together. And they have a chance to put things together over this course of the season. But yes, Huni thinks obviously their goal is to win the spring split, but he was not saying that he wasn't as cocky, or not even cocky, but just confident as he usually sounds. So it just makes me wonder a little bit maybe what's going on. I just thought it was a little bit interesting. But again, now TSM and Team Liquid are both actually tied in the standings at 3-2, and that gets pretty spicy. Yes, we're only 5 games into this year. We have 13 more games played just in the spring split. But like Huni said, he thinks that playoffs are guaranteed no matter what. They're going to the playoffs no matter what, so they're going to have a chance. So, early on in this last week, I was a little bit worried for TSM because they almost lost to CLG. They almost lost to GG. And yeah, they didn't, but those were probably games that more often than not they would have lost. And it just kind of looked like they weren't looking so good. But obviously, picking up this win against Team Liquid, actually doing something in the early game, getting a gold lead early, snowballing out of control is very, very good. Now, one win is great. A win against a good team is awesome. It's good to see for TSM. Can they do this consistently? Will they be able to do this, a couple games in a row, a couple weeks in a row? Then TSM can start to look like a legitimate threat. But either way, it was just refreshing to finally see them play decent. And as far as Team Liquid, it's probably not great to lose to TSM, but I think you can just chalk it up to Azir picked up a quadra kill 15 minutes and they won the game from there. It did suck for them, obviously having the double counter picks in the solo lane and not really being able to do anything with that. But, how often is Azir going to get a quadra kill 15 minutes in? I'm sure they're still feeling all right. I mean, it's not good to lose to TSM. I'm sure they're mad, but they should hopefully be all right in the long run as well. But that's pretty much it for this video today, guys. Definitely drop a like if you enjoyed it. I would appreciate it so much. It really helps me out the YouTube algorithm. Leave a comment down below. What do you think about this situation? You think TSM's good? You think Team Liquid's bad? You think it was just a best of one and you shouldn't care about it at all? I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Subscribe, stay up to date on the latest content. Hopefully I catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace!